Hi and welcome. I am trying to learn particle physics, today neutrinos, and after we've done it, we're gonna do Neckstretching. And if you participate in the Neckstretching, then it's at your own risk. And this is about 3 or 4 neutrinos. We can't say precisely how heavy each of the 3 neutrino states is, the muon, tau and electron neutrino. Either, besides saying the mass of the lightest state is about 0.05 electron volt. And we said, and yet the sum of the 3 neutrino masses can't exceed more than about 0.3 electrovolts, more than 1,000,000 times smaller than the next lightest particle, the electron. So 0.3 is already 1,000,000th, and 0.05 must be way less. So we only know the mass of these 3 neutrino. That is because having a tiny amount of mass gives them another remarkable power. They can switch between different flavors, morphing from one into another as they zoom along in a process called neutrino oscillation. So these neutrinos can do neutrino oscillation. They can become the electron neutrino, the tau neutrino, the muon neutrino. That is what I understand so far. Electron neutrinos produced in the sun's core can transform into either muon or tau neutrinos, evading our searches on Earth. So if you're on Earth searching for neutrinos, then it can be that we can't find these electron neutrinos because they have transformed into the muon or tau neutrino. This shape-shifting solves the solar neutrino problem, but other mysteries remain solved why there are too little electrons of something called electron neutrinos. The most vexing of these states from the 90s, when an experiment called the Liquid Scintillator Neutrino Detector in Los Alamos, New Mexico, found that the antimatter versions of muon neutrinos were oscillating into electron antineutrinos faster than expected. I think these muon neutrino. No, I don't know what the antimatter version of a muon neutrino is. Okay. We were doing this neutrino oscillation. Neutrino oscillation. The result was confirmed by a second experiment, Mini-Bonnet, which ran at Fermilab in Illinois from 2002 to 2017. Another set of confounding results came from radioactive decays within nuclear reactors on Earth. They appear to produce about 6% fewer electron antineutrinos than the standard model predicts. Okay, the electron antineutrinos must be these electron neutrinos. No, I don't get it. Okay, the standard model of each cells of each one are the same, but now also on Earth, in nuclear reactors, where the neutrinos of something I can't go back to say what it was 6% less. They are not all 34.3% electron neutrino, tau neutrino, muon neutrino, as we should be. So, too many electron antineutrinos being produced on the one hand, antineutrino being produced, and not enough on the other. What is going on? Yes, we're saying we have too many, muons instead of taus or whatever. One possible explanation lies in inventing a fourth, sterile flavor of neutrino capable of shape-shifting into any of the other 3. Okay, to invent a fourth one is a big deal, and this seems like a big deal, given that the notion of 3 generations of particles is deeply baked into the standard model. I heard something explaining it recently. I haven't paid really attention, but it was something about it. It was, I don't know what it was. That's the thing that's missing. I think it was to put the electron of another type of electron into, or basically okay, I haven't paid proper attention. To put another type of electron onto the shells of an atom, which is from another atom, but I think that's the normal process. It was a process which is unusual. Okay, it was something like that. Where it was disguised. The thing is, the electron was disguised and that way it could come onto one of the shells of another electron, and now it had the proper amount of electrons, but it was something different. They had disguised whatever. It was something in chemistry, and they had disguised one electron and put it through it into another. I don't even know if there were electrons somewhere else into another atom, and created an atom which had a not normal combination of, I think, there were electrons on the shells. But they haven't paid proper attention. But it was something similar possible in chemistry. This seems like a big deal, given that the notion of free generations of particles is deeply baked into the Standard Model. Yes, so we're saying the Standard Model says they are free. So what do you want now with your fourth one? But as we have seen, the reasons for this magic number are still a mystery. Unlike its siblings, though, which interact solely via weak nuclear force and gravity, with the gravity bit being essentially irrelevant, given gravity's weakness as a force and how little mass the neutrinos have, whereas the real neutrino would only feel the pull of gravity. Let's do that again. Okay, the idea of a fourth, the real one, seems like a big deal, because the Standard Model says they are free. But as we have seen, the reasons for this magic number are still a mystery, so we don't know why they're free. And also, as if they said, the idea that there is maybe another thing which interacts on them. No, we said opposite that way because when you could do neutrino oscillation. Whatever. Unlike its siblings, though, which interact solely via weak nuclear force and gravity, with the gravity bit being essentially irrelevant, given gravity's weakness as a force and how little mass there is. Okay, they are saying it can be a fourth one where or fourth one can be invented because it has as a neutrino so little mass that the weak force, which is the one interacting onto the electrons, has basically no influence on the antimatter neutrino, or whatever it was now, because we have so little mass. So we're saying there can exist a fourth one because the forces, the gravity forces and the electroweak forces working on the fermion have basically no influence on the fourth one. So there could be a fourth one, it would be influenceless, because it has basically no mass. The stereo neutrino would only feel the pull of gravity. This idea was proposed in 1985 by Italian nuclear physicist Bruno Pontecorvo to allow neutrinos to morph into antineutrinos. How does it help to morph into antineutrinos? The logic now goes that Mini-Bonnet and Alice and Davies to experiment saw more electron neutrinos than predicted because of all the extra stereo neutrinos that decayed into this kind. Saw more electron neutrinos, so there are tau neutrinos, mu neutrinos, and electron neutrinos. And these are the intermittent neutrinos? I think that looked bad. Saw more electron neutrinos than predicted because of all the extra stereo neutrinos that decayed into this kind. So more electron. There's a fourth one. Okay, let's imagine that they are not free, all the 35.3% chance to exist. No, 3% of the antimatter neutrinos all exist in the same amount, always free. It is because there's a fourth one, but this fourth one has so little mass that it is very likely to do the neutrino oscillation and it becomes the electron neutrino. So there are always four inside of each fermion, but the fourth one has so little mass that it does so easily neutrino oscillation and becomes the electron neutrino. Now we're finding too much electron neutrino because it's basically okay. The reason the reactor experiments saw all those electron neutrinos go missing was because they had decayed into their stereo counterpart. The reactors saw all those electron neutrinos go missing. Whatever, and the other one had decayed into the fourth one, which is not proven that it exists, and it's just a hypothetical idea that I don't really get it now. Summoning the stereo neutrino into existence could exorcise a number of other problems as well. Okay, if we just say there is the fourth one, that maybe solve one or two problems, why there are too many of them, but it also creates new problems. Why have there no four? I think that's the next point, when there has to be a fourth one, because it's all antimatter. A fourth action, nothing. Okay. Good. Now, a heavier fourth neutrino could explain why the other three are so, I can't pronounce the word, anomalously light. For example, via a process known as the seesaw mechanism. I found it out recently. A seesaw is the thing on the playground. And I was wondering, is it because you see a person when you saw it, because you see it and you saw it? Via a process known as the seesaw mechanism, it is increased mass would drive the masses of the others down. Its increased mass will drive the masses of the other down, like toddlers going up and down on a seesaw. Okay, we are well over time, and whatever the last part was. It's something to do with the fourth one. There's a fourth eater, and now the cake is eaten by 4 people. And if we see only 3 people, there's someone invisible eating. But chases something at the cake, which is left. Now, that was the neutrino, the particle physics part. If you were here for particle physics, you can go directly to the next part of particle physics. We're going to do now the Neckstretching. If you stay and participate in the Neckstretching, then it's always good in certain sense. We do the hydrotower. Breathe in, lift the arms up, and reach with the fingertips as far away as you can. High up, breathe in. And again down, reach with the fingertips as far as you can. Again up, and reach as far as you can. And again down. No circuits. In front, reach as far as you can. And in front. And that's it. And we push our feet are standing together, arms up quickly, and we're planning to fly like a push. Our right exercise. Our legs shoulder wide apart, tall up, shoulders back, breathe in. Our shoulders to the side. Chin down to the ground. Breathe again in, lift the gaze, and bring it out to the other side. Breathe in. And our chin down to the clavicle. You can shoulder up, back in the middle, and again out to the side directly. Breathe again in. And breathe halfway out, and then go in a circulatory movement over to the other side. Breathe again in. And out over to the other side. Now we fly. Bring the palms together, elbows together, and lift the arms up as far as you can go with moderate effort. And relax again. And another time. And next. Now the pusher base nailer machine exercise. Hands together. Breathe in. And out, breathe out. Press in front, bring out to the head. Again in middle. And out another time. And on to the next exercise, the cashew. Feet are standing together, intertwine the fingers behind the back. Breathe in, tall up, shoulders back. And out, head out to one side. And chin down to the ground. Breathe again in. And out, pull the hands down to the ground. Again in, lift the gaze. And bring it over to the other side. Breathe again in. And out, chin down to the clavicle. And pull the hands down to the ground. Again, in lift the gaze, and bring it into the middle. And now we're doing the stretch of Venus. Intertwine the fingers behind the back, bring them over to one side, breathe in, tall up, shoulders back, and out, head out to one side, and chin down to the clavicle. Breathe again in, and out, pull the arm and then the shoulder down. Again, in, lift the gaze, turn the head out to the outside. Breathe out, chin down to the clavicle. And pull the arm and shoulder down. Again, in lift the gaze, bring the head back in the middle. The sky hug. The feet are standing together. We're breathing and lifting the arms up. And without lean back, long arms. Again, in the arms up. And out and lean back. Again, up. Hold the arms down, and we're doing the eagle's wings. Breathe and lift the arms up. head down, and we're ending with the cactus collecting its stings. Lift the arms up, bring the hands to touch, and lower the hands down to heart center. That was the neck stretching. I thank you very much, and until next time.